Hello, good day. I'm making this video on the above question. That is, why is the center carbon atom in the general structure of the amino acid called an alpha carbon atom? Have you ever asked yourself this question? Was a biochemistry student, why do you think the center carbon atom it has been called an alpha carbon atom? Do you think it is just because it is optically active or it is being chiral? That is why it is called an alpha carbon atom? But let's consider the general structure of the amino acid. In the general structure of the amino acid, we have the center carbon atom. And that center carbon atom is the carbon that is being called an alpha carbon atom. And it is chiral. Why? It is because it is being surrounded with four different substrate or groups. And chemically speaking, or from the field of chemistry, any compound or any carbon that has been surrounded with four different substrates, it is said to be a chiral carbon atom. And there are other names that are being used to describe these chiral carbon atoms, such as stereogenic carbon atom, chiral center, tertiary carbon atom, as well as asymmetric carbon atom. All these are names that are being used to describe the center carbon or chiral carbon atom. So now, going back to the question above, why is the center carbon atom called an alpha carbon atom? It is not just because it is optically active or chiral, but here you are. Then, scientists or chemists have been using the Greek alphabet. Yeah, the Greek alphabet like alpha, beta, gamma, and the rest. These are the Greek alphabet. And you know this Greek alphabet are 24 in number, so they are limited. Then they have been using this Greek alphabet to number the carbon atoms in a given structures. And then the structures or compound being discovered have limited or small number of carbon atoms. And then they can be using Greek alphabet to number the carbon atoms. And while using Greek alphabet to number the carbon atoms, then you exclude the first carbon atom bearing the functional group. For example, in the case of amino acid, the functional group that will be given the highest order of priority is the carboxylic acid. So we consider carboxylic acid group as our carbon number 1. That carbon number 1 we excluded while using Greek alphabet. And I repeat, while using Greek alphabet, you exclude the carbon bearing the functional group that will be given the highest order of priority. And considering the structure of amino acid, the functional group that will be given the highest order of priority is the carboxylic acid group. So when we exclude carbon number 1, which is bearing the functional group, which is carboxylic acid group, the subsequent carbon atom you see is the center carbon atom, and we give it the name alpha carbon atom. Continuously, the second will be beta, gamma, up to the last carbon atom. So considering the structure of amino acid, when we exclude the first carbon atom bearing the functional group that will be giving highest order of priority, the subsequent carbon will be alpha. Then it happens that the center carbon atom is the second carbon atom after the first carbon atom bearing the carboxylic acid group. That is why it is called an alpha carbon atom. And I repeat, this is the reason why the center carbon atom is called an alpha carbon atom. Then we are using Greek alphabets. So as time goes on, compounds that we have been discovered are having number of carbon atoms that exclude the number of Greek alphabets, which are 24 in number. You see, using Greek alphabet become limited. Then they now be kind of employed in a conventional way by using the numbers, the 1, 2, 3 that have no limited. Their limitation depend on the quantity of what you are kind of considering. Then a conventional way they employ the use of numbers that have no limit. Then this is the reason why the center carbon atom it is called an alpha carbon atom. It is not just because it is optically active or chiral, but then they have been using Greek alphabet. But even now, the use of this Greek alphabet is still in use, but for a compound that have limited number of carbon atoms. The reason why the center carbon atom is called alpha carbon atom, it is where you are using the Greek alphabet, then the center carbon atom is the second carbon atom, and that is why it is called an alpha carbon atom. This is all what I have for you in this short video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share this information to fellow metabolite. I really to be Mubarak Ismail MI. Common sense is always a useful check. Thank you.